Yeah, I mean, there's the standard, practice with special operations and as certain elements is that if you're not doing your training, right, that's just what you do. You're always training during your downtime. Is there a way for you to quantify? Let's just take a protective detail agent. Is there a way to quantify how much training they get during the course of any normal year? And realizing, of course, look, their job is it's chaotic, it's busy. It kind of depends on the schedules of the protectee, and there's a lot of work involved there. But on average, any sense of how much training they receive or are given continuously through their career on an annual basis?
Well, I can tell you what's supposed to happen and what does happen, what's reality. And
Okay.
they're supposed to have training once a month. But I can tell you, due to the operational tempo, and this is primarily one of the big reasons of the failures of the Secret Service that we've seen lately, is that, if you go back to the Obama administration, the Trump administration, the Biden administration, and you start looking at the increase of protective detail assignments that have been heaped upon the men and women of the Secret Service and how that has affected their operational tempo. This is why you've had good men and women like myself who are dedicated, who have a servant heart, who are capable, have just been completely burnt out. And we left because the service could not uphold their word as far as duration of assignments and operational tempo. The fact of the matter is that I would say, and some people may be upset about it, but I don't care because they know that it's true, is that the training cycle that should be happening is not, because of the operational tempo that has been thrust upon the men and women of the Secret Service by the administration, adding additional protectees to the responsibility of the United States Secret Service. I can recall back when I was on, counter assault under Obama and the presidential detail, there were so many cabinet members that we were protecting, and the men and women of the Secret Service are quiet professionals. They're not going to complain about this, but the agency and the leadership has to say, sir, madam, president, we can no longer sustain, with the workforce that we have, the amount of individuals that you're having us protect. We have to start looking at, are these people in direct succession, to the continuity of and operations of the United States of America? And the answer is no. And I'm not saying that we should put, risk levels on certain individuals' lives, but when we're protecting, I'm just throwing this out there, the Commerce Secretary or somebody else, at what cost, I guess would be my question. What cost?
Right.
Because yesterday or day before, we heard the director say that they are now covering 36 permanent protectees on behalf of this administration. And we were never designed to do that. And so I truly believe that DHS and the Secret Service need to examine their protective mission and their investigative mission to determine, is the investigative mission really worth us salvaging? Because in order for us or the Secret Service to do this right, we solely need to we need to focus on the protective mission. And if that means us giving up that investigative responsibility to the FBI or give that to the DHS and putting the Secret Service under a different department, perhaps the Treasury, going back there and solely protecting America's leaders, then that's what we need to do. This is, I think, a monumental opportunity for the Secret Service to advocate for that.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's a very interesting point, right? Is to because I was thinking when you started talking about this, my mind went where I think a lot of people do, which is, okay, well, you need more resources, right? You need to be able to hire more agents without lowering the qualifications, without lowering the standards, right? And sometimes that can be difficult because there may be a finite pool of capable candidates out there. But in terms of resources, yeah, we look and we go, okay, we need to hire more qualified agents. Look, I love the IRS as much as the next person, but they've been making this big spiel about they're hiring 88,000 new agents for the IRS, and yet the Secret Service is running so lean, and the demands are so high that they're having these problems, and they're relying more and more on local law enforcement, whether it's Butler County or Washington County or Beaver County or wherever in the states. And those standards may vary greatly from, local law enforcement from one to the other. But it is interesting what you're saying is maybe hive off some of the responsibilities of Secret Service to other agencies that may be better equipped to handle those things, and let the Secret Service focus on that primary mission of keeping people alive.
Or give us a tenth of the amount of the IRS agents that they're hiring so that we can sort through and identify the best amongst who we have to fulfill that protective mission. And the rest, hey, I'm sorry, you're just not cut for it. You're going to be working T-checks out in Houston or LA because that's what your investigative capabilities. I mean, that's what your capabilities are, And so, listen, I'm not discounting the actions or the integrity of the men and women of the Secret Service. I'm just saying that if
Right,
we're going to
right.
do this right, we have to do this right at this point.